Recorded Life. Hello and welcome to the first Recorded Life podcast. Here, one of our writers, Chris Hutchinson, talks to a recent customer about the whole Recorded Life process. You'll hear how simple and easy it is and how rewarding it can be as well. Let's drop in on them as they chat about her book.
Jude, here we are at the end of a 4 or 5 month process. How do you feel about it now?
I feel very excited, really. Very pleased that I've actually got it down in writing.
And how have you found the process of reminiscing and almost researching your recent past?
No, I've really enjoyed it. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I just feel, it's a real achievement to have actually completed it, because I know so many people that say they're going to do this and then they never do.
And I know that you took the nearly completed whole manuscript on holiday with you, so was it almost like pre-birth that you were there holding your book, even though it still needed a bit of polishing?
Yeah, it did, and I've had to be very disciplined into setting aside time to read it through, make sure it's accurate, make sure I'm not duplicating, and make sure I've got everything in it, because so much has happened in my life that I just wanted to make sure it's all down and all the important things are down.
Did you find parts of it quite difficult?
I think I found it fairly straightforward. I think I was quite shocked when I read some of my diaries, how many boyfriends I had. It certainly enlightened me in lots of ways, particularly into patterns of things that have happened, which I think I've always been aware of, but perhaps never quite seen it as clearly as I do now, and how I'm going to not allow certain things to happen in the future. And also I feel better that, I've actually got it down on paper. I feel like I've held on to all of this in my head for 17 years, all of the dark stuff. And I think it's a good release in a way.
And do you have this feeling that you've now put in place something for future generations, plural, even after you've gone?
Yeah, I think that was my intention, is to, I don't know if anybody's going to necessarily read it while I'm alive. I don't really mind if they don't, but it's nice to have it down on paper. So one day, my grandchildren might say, I wonder why Granny and Grandpa split up, and then they can read my story and know why.
Well, beyond splitting up, read what an extraordinary collection of adventures made up the other 4/5 of your life.
Yes. Yeah, like James always said to me, I wouldn't have done anywhere near as much that I've done if I'd stayed married. Travelling all over the world and having all these experiences is down to the fact that I could do it because I was single.
What would your advice be to people who are thinking of writing their life story?
Well, I'm the sort of person that's like, well, if you want to do it, get on and do it. What have you got to lose? Nothing. You've got everything to gain, and people just talk about it, and this is actually about getting on and doing it.
What did Recorded Life do to help turn an intention into reality for you?
It just made me focus, and it gave me homework, and it made me do what I've been thinking about doing. I committed to do it because I'd asked you to help me, sort of thing.
Do you think the timescale was comfortable? We were talking about 4 months or so?
Yes. There's a lot more down on paper than we anticipated initially. And there's probably still lots more I could have written. I've tried to cherry pick not necessarily the nice bits, but the important bits.
And do you think, from what you just said, that it might inspire you to write down more things?
Yeah, I think I shall revisit this in 17 years' time.
And what's your thoughts on what people will think when they read this book? What the reaction of future readers will be?
I think most people will be very surprised that I went through so much, because I, on the outside, didn't show any of that. And I think for James and Mark reading it, they might be a little bit upset, perhaps that I didn't tell them more than I did. My mum might be a bit surprised that I got up to so much mischief when I was younger. I think my dad knows.
Do you think it will be an interesting part of their living ancestry for them?
If my grandmother had written something, I'm sure I would have read it, but I would hope that they would be interested. But who knows?
How did you find the process of meetings, approximately 2 a month, and the involvement of the book? How did that go for you?
It was fine. I think you have to just be very disciplined. You have to put it in your diary. You have to do your homework. You know, if I'd wanted more time, I know I could have asked for it. I'm relieved that it's down on paper, and I'm quite excited to see what it's going to look like with all the pictures in it.
Thank you for listening to the latest podcast from Recorded Life. To find out more, our website www.recordedlife.co.uk will tell you more. Just go to our contact page, click on the link and send us an email. Recorded Life, your life in print.